Hi there. Are you ready for an adventure? We hope so. We are going to take you around the world in the next half hour. I'm Janelle Diller.
And I'm Lisa Travis.
And we write the Pack and Go Girls Adventures.
We're going to start off by saying hello to you in all the languages of the countries that our books are written in. So I'm going to start off with hello.
Hola.
Hola.
Hello.
Savati.
If you are not familiar with Pack and Go Girls Adventures, you're in for a treat. Pack and Go Girls Adventures take you around the world. You can tour haunted castles in Austria, paddle through spooky lagoons in Mexico, save dolphins and turtles in Brazil, search for lost golden temples in the jungles of Thailand, and chase aliens in the Australian outback.
We're also going to share with you the secrets to being a good writer, and that is to make your story come alive. So we're going to visit each country and we're going to share one secret along the way to help you make your writing come alive.
Bienvenidos a Mexico. We're going to Mexico for our first country. Do you know where it is? Right there. It's our neighbor to the south. And we have two books about Mexico. The first one is Mystery of the Thief in the Night. And the second one is Mystery of the Disappearing Dolphin. And these books are about Izzy, who sails all the way from Seattle, Washington to Barra de Navidad, and she meets Patty. And the two of them go on wonderful adventures together. In Mystery of the Thief in the Night, they realize that there is someone who's stealing the dinghies out of the lagoon. In the second one, they get to go to a Mexican market, and something magical happens there. So you have to read the books and find out exactly what it is. So here's an actual picture of Barra de Navidad. It's a beautiful little Mexican village, very colorful. You can see the palm trees. It's in the tropics. Mountains surround the town, and it's on this wonderful lagoon, which is very calm and flat, and right next to the ocean. You can see the colorful boats there. They've got a water taxi system. So if you want to go someplace, you can take a boat there instead of a car.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. Here's a third grade classroom. I spent the morning in this classroom a few years ago and found it really interesting. Lisa, as you look at this, what do you see that's the same as an American classroom, and what's different?
Well, I see desks and pencils and papers. That all looks the same. But they all look like they're in uniforms. Now, I guess there are some schools where they're in uniforms here in the United States, but not the school I went to.
Me neither. The interesting thing about this classroom for me was not all of the children had textbooks. And so one of the things that the teacher had to do, and you see him at the front of the room, he had to show what page they were working on and the lesson on the whiteboard up there with his computer. And he was lucky because he had a computer and he had a projection system. But that's how a lot of the children learned, because they couldn't afford the textbooks. The other thing that was interesting was there were more children in the classroom than a typical American classroom. And this isn't the only class that teacher was teaching. He had a class in the morning, and then the children would go home, and another set of children would come in the afternoon, and he would teach them again. That's very typical. You can imagine how tired he is at the end of every day. And he still has to prepare for the next day and grade papers.
Wow.
All right, a fun fact about Mexico. Is this true or false? The Chihuahua, the smallest dog in the world, is named after a Mexican state. What do you think, Lisa?
I don't know. I think I might have heard of the name Chihuahua, like Chihuahua, Mexico. So I'm going to say true.
And you are right. The Chihuahua was named after Chihuahua, Mexico. And if you're not sure what a Chihuahua looks like, we've got a great little treat for you. How do you get a a dog to dance like that. I'm amazed.
I don't know, but I love that video.
I do too. I have to laugh every time I see it. So we want to teach you a little bit of language about each country. And the words that I chose to teach you are amigo or amiga. And both of these words mean friend. But two things. First of all, notice that the ending is different. If you're talking about a friend who's a boy, you would use the word amigo. If you're talking about a friend who is a girl, you'd say amiga. So that's different in Spanish than it is in English. The other reason why I chose this, though, is because this really represents Mexico to me in lots of ways. Mexicans use the word amigo very, very frequently. And they treat people like they are friends, even if they're meeting them for the first time. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Now, our first top secret strategy for making your writing come alive. And that's to use colorful words to describe what you see. So I'm going to read a passage for you, and I want you to listen for the words that make it come alive. So you have a word picture, and you have a picture in your mind. So this is about Izzy and Patty. They're in an estuary, which is where fresh water comes into a lagoon, and they are looking for the stolen dinghies. They glided to a break in the mangroves. Immediately it grew darker with the growth around and above them. The mist grew thicker in the cool shade. Mangrove branches made an arch over the estuary. Roots dangled from branches. They looked like long snakes reaching down to the water. With the low tide, the mangrove roots at the foot of the tree spread out like spiders. Snakes and spiders and maybe crocodiles? All of them scared Izzy. And now they were kayaking into the heart of them. Birds and shadows of birds fluttered past them. Izzy tried not to think about bats. Of course, that only made her think about bats. She wished she'd worn a hat. The estuary narrowed into a stream that twisted and turned. Crabs scuttled along the roots. Their legs clacked against the branches. Out of the corner of Izzy's eye, they looked like gigantic spiders running sideways. So Lisa, what were some colorful words that you heard in that?
I like the gigantic spiders, but they're really the crabs and the tree branches that look like snakes. I mean, I could really picture it in my mind with all the description and all those colorful words.
We want our readers to feel like they're in that place. And that's why we use words like that. So where are we going to next?
We're going to Brazil. Bem-vindo a Brazil. Now, where is Brazil? There it is. That's even further south than Mexico. And actually, in Brazil, they have the opposite seasons that we do. We have two books that are set in Brazil, Mystery of the Troubled Toucan and Mystery of the Lazy Loggerhead. And in those books, Sophia, who's from Miami, travels down to Brazil with her father, and she meets her friend Julia. In the first book, The Troubled Toucan, they go to Manaus in the Amazon rainforest. And there, the toucan leads them through the jungle to solve a mystery. And in the second book, they're on the coast of Brazil, and they see a very lazy loggerhead. And they have to find out, why is that lazy loggerhead just so lazy? What's really going on with those sea turtles? So they have to work to save the animals in both of these books. Now, you can see there is the Troubled Toucan. He's the star of Mystery of the Troubled Toucan. There are lots of toucans and many, many other birds in the Amazon rainforest. And here is the meeting of the waters. This is where the Rio Negro and the Rio Solimões, I can't pronounce it, it's probably still not exactly right, but that's okay. They come together and they meet to make the Amazon River. And so this is the meeting of the waters where those two come together and the Amazon River then flows down. And here is a classroom in Manaus, Brazil. Janelle, what do you see that's the same or different than a classroom that you're used to?
Well, again, like the Mexico classroom, most of the kids are wearing uniforms, except for the little boy in the front. It's also interesting to see that it looks like they're on some kind of a porch or a balcony over the water, which I would think would be the coolest thing in the world to be studying outside like that. But I think I might get distracted by what I'm looking at in the water too.
I would definitely be distracted. Here's a fun fact. Which is more popular in Brazil, volleyball or football? What do you think, Janelle?
Well, I don't think they play football like we do, so it must be volleyball.
It's football. Only in Brazil, football is soccer. So let's take a look at some Brazilian football. So that's what they mean by football in Brazil. And for some little Brazilian language, in Brazil they speak Portuguese. And so this phrase means I miss you. So let's hear what it sounds like in Portuguese.
Que saudade.
Que saudade. Want to listen to it one more time?
Yeah. Que saudade.
So if you see your friends, you can practice this phrase. And so the next time that you see them, you can say, I miss you, que saudade. And they will be really impressed with your Portuguese. All right, for our second secret, we use noisy words to describe what you hear. And I'm going to read a little passage from Mystery of the Troubled Toucan. And in this book, they've just arrived into the Amazon rainforest. Dad, a hammock. There's a hammock in the room. Sophia ran and jumped in the hammock. Ah, now this is relaxing. No creepy guy, no crazy bird. Can I just stay here the whole time? I'm afraid it would be hard to see the Amazon rainforest from your hammock, Mr. Diaz laughed. You don't want to miss those beautiful blue morpho butterflies. Maybe she couldn't see the Amazon rainforest swinging in the hammock, but she could certainly hear it. As the darkness set in, the noise grew louder. Ribbit, zzz, zzz, ribbit, cricket, zzz. It sounded like the animals of the rainforest were all trying to talk to one another, but at the exact same time, or like a chorus was warming up for a huge Amazon concert. She'd heard some of these sounds before in Florida, but some, screech, grunt, squawk, some were just alarming. Did you hear any noisy words in there, Janelle?
Those were great noisy words. I felt like I was right in the middle of the rainforest. And I've heard the rainforest, and I bet these guys want to hear the rainforest too.
Okay, we'll take a quick listen.
Oh yeah, you can hear them all in there. Very cool.
You
It's spooky to be out there in the rainforest in the middle of the night. All right, so now we're headed to Australia. Any idea where that is in the world? Way down south. It's the largest island continent that we have. And these books, Mystery of the Min Lights and Mystery of the Rusty Key, are about Wendy Lee from San Francisco, California, who travels to Australia and meets Chloe and Chloe's brother, Jack. And they have some really, really cool mysteries. Wendy's so excited to meet these new friends because she's going to be there for part of the school year. She doesn't know anybody. And she gets to go out to the sheep station that Chloe's family lives on. And they discover that the sheep are disappearing. So they have to solve that mystery. And it's kind of spooky. And then the Mystery of the Rusty Key, the three children again solve a very spooky mystery about Jack receives a letter that was written 100 years ago. And inside there is a rusty key that solves their mystery. So you have to read that, and it's a lot of fun. So I love this photo of Australia. This is in the outback. Notice how flat it is, and the red dirt, the red coloring, that's partly because I think the time of day. In Colorado, where I live, on the highways you see signs of a deer, and it'll say deer crossing. Well, in Australia, they don't have deer that they have to worry about. They have wild camels, over 1 million of them in the country. They have armadillos, and they've got kangaroos, and the kangaroos really are they are very dangerous because they'll all of a sudden hop out of nowhere and over the road. And you see that it's for the next 96 kilometers. That's the next 60 miles that you have to be watching for those things. Oh, and what a great photo this is. You guys all recognize these clownfish from Finding Nemo. These are from the Great Barrier Reef, which is the largest reef in the world. So I don't know if there are hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of clownfish, but there are a lot of beautiful fish in the Great Barrier Reef. Someday I'm going to go snorkeling there. Oh, and here's an Australian classroom. Lisa, what do you see that's the same or different?
Well, see, again, I see uniforms. It appears that there are lots of uniforms. And I see water bottles. Now, I know that my daughter is always carrying her water bottle here in Colorado. So that is definitely the same.
Yeah. I think in lots of ways, it looks like it could be an American classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a fun fact. How many different reptile species does Australia have? Any guess?
I don't know, like 50 maybe?
Over 750. Turtles, geckos, lizards, snakes, pythons, which by the way are snakes, crocodiles, and skinks. Do you know what a skink is?
Let's find out.
Underneath this hat is one of the greatest of all lizard actors. It's a skink, but no ordinary skink. This is the blue-tongue skink. Look at that. When this animal feels threatened, watch what it does. It opens its mouth, and it flashes that tongue. Watch this. Look at this. Look how it sticks that tongue up. Its goal is to look larger than life. And he flashes that tongue. Bright blue apoptotic coloration, and it's a warning. Not for being a biter, but if truly ticked off, well, wouldn't it?
Isn't that wild? I've never seen one of those in a zoo or any place.
No, me either.
I think I'd be a little freaked out if I did see that blue tongue flashing. So the language that I want to share with you about Australia is this. Australians speak English like we do. It sounds a little different, but very much the same. But they have very colorful phrases for things. And so this was one that I ran across. A few kangaroos loose in the top paddock. So if you think about, this is just a fun one because it's kind of a crazy way of saying, they're not really all there, or they're kind of crazy, or they've got some funny ideas. And I ran across this when I was working with two Australians. They were talking to each other about somebody else. And the one guy said, oh, he's got a few kangaroos loose in the top paddock. And it's like, I grabbed my pencil and I wrote that down because I knew that was going to go into the Australia books.
That's a cool, fun phrase.
It is. It is. So our next secret is to use feely words to describe what you touch. So here's a couple of passages from Mystery of the Rusty Key. And the children are at a great aunt's house of Chloe and Jack. And Jack has just received a letter written over 100 years ago. And he can't read it because he's only in kindergarten, or as he says, he's only in kindy. I'll help you, Jacko, Wendy said. She took the old envelope. The paper felt thick and brittle, like it would if she bent it. It wasn't sealed like a normal envelope. Instead, it had a dried out leather string tied around it. Big flowery letters spread across the front. Wendy carefully untied the dried out leather string and opened the flap. The stiff envelope crackled slightly. She pulled out a single sheet of folded paper, but the envelope still had more in it. Wendy turned it upside down. Out dropped a rusty skeleton key. So, what could that lead to?
I don't know, but I can almost feel it in my hands, the dryness, and it's like going to fall apart, and how careful she was being. You can just picture being there with those words.
Great. So where are we going next, Lisa?
We are going to Thailand. Let's think a little bit about that. Where is Thailand? But before we do that, how do you say that in Thai? Now, I can't profess to be good at speaking Thai, so I have got a little audio clip for you on this. Let's listen.
ยินดีต้อนรับสู่ประเทศไทย
That's a mouthful, but that is welcome to Thailand. Here, let's listen one more time.
ยินดีต้อนรับสู่ประเทศไทย
It
So
sounds kind of sing-songy.
it is very sing-songy, and I love the letters because they're just so pretty as well. So now let's take a look at where Thailand actually is. It's all the way on the other side of the world. So in Thailand, when it's nighttime, it's daytime in the United States, and vice versa. It's just the opposite. And we have two books that are set in Thailand, Mystery of the Golden Temple and Mystery of the Naga at Night. And in these books, Jess, who's from Boston, travels all the way to Chiang Mai, Thailand, and she meets her new friend Nong May, and they solve mysteries like all of our other books. And the first one, they're trying to find a golden temple to help bring good luck back to Nong May's family. And in the second book, Jess sees a seven-headed serpent outside her window in the hill tribe villages in the jungle outside of Chiang Mai. So you'll have to read those books to find out what's going on in those mysteries. Now here's the star of Mystery of the Naga at Night. One of the Nagas, there's lots of Naga statues all around Thailand and many outside the temples. Thailand is also known for its elephants, and in fact, in the Mystery of the Golden Temple, the girls visit an elephant rescue center where they are rescuing the elephants and taking care of them. Here's a classroom in Bangkok. Janelle, what do you see that's the same or different than this classroom?
Once again, lots of kids looking like they're dressed similarly in some kind of a uniform with white t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
Go on.
There are a lot of kids.
Yeah. I also see a lot of books at the back of the classroom, so it's nice to see that they've got a lot of books.
Yeah. Here's another classroom up in the Hill Tribe Village area.
And this is interesting because it looks like maybe 4 of the girls are wearing some kind of a traditional dress.
Yes, they are. And this is a Hill Tribe Village in a Hmong area, which is where Mystery of the Naga at Night is set. And they are wearing some traditional uniforms. Okay, here's a fun fact for you. The capital of Thailand is Bangkok, but it has an official name, and its full official name is the longest place name in the world. How many letters are in it? So I'll make it easy. You don't have to guess the exact number of letters. Is it less than 100 or more than 100?
I can't imagine any place having more than 100 letters. Yeah, so I'm guessing less than 100.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Wow.
63 letters. Look at all of those letters. So in the first set of letters, it's romanized into our letters, but then you can see in the bottom half of the screen, there are the actual Thai letters. I can't imagine trying to pronounce the full name. Do you want to hear what it sounds like?
Yeah.
Hey, my name is Mon. I'm from Thailand, and my friend Hunter is filming me, and he asked me, what is the real name of Bangkok? It's the longest capital name in the world, and Bangkok is right here in Thailand. Okay, the name is กรุงเทพมหานครอมรรัตนโกสินทร์มหินทราอยุธยามหาวิโรจน์พบนพราชราชธานีบุรีรัมย์อุดรราชนิเวศน์มหาสถานอมรวิมานอวตารสถิตสักกะทิยาวิสุทธิการประสิทธิ์ That is the name of Bangkok.
Wow. All I know is I wouldn't ever want to have to be able to spell that all on a test.
Yeah, you should actually Google the full name of Bangkok on Google, and you can see there's other videos of people saying it. And there's even some videos of where they've gone around a school and asked the kids to try and say it. So it's something they actually have to practice to really be able to say.
I'll bet so.
Oh, we got some pictures, another Thai language here for you. And this is actually one of the temples, the picture here in Chiang Mai. But the language is Mai Pen Rai, and it means is no problem. It's no problem. The Thai people use this phrase all the time. And they are very much like, it's okay, everything's fine, it's no problem. My penrai. So the next time one of your friends gets upset about something, you just impress them with your Thai language and you say, my penrai, my penrai. It's fine, it's no problem. Okay, now we have our fourth secret for you, and this is to use juicy words to describe what you taste. So I'm going to read a little something from Mystery of the Naga at Night. Okay. I've got a special treat for dessert, Kun Molly said. She plopped down a plate with what looked like little half-moon shaped cups filled with custard. Thank you, Kun Molly. What is it? Jared asked. He picked one up and turned it around in his hands to inspect it. It's called Knam Krak, Kun Molly said. It is one of Piaran's favorites. She smiled at Piaran and put her hand gently on his back. It is my favorite. Piaran reached over as Nangmei leaned in to get one. It is a coconut pancake. He snatched it out of her hand. Nangmei, do not eat them all. Nangmei frowned. I did not eat one yet. She furrowed her eyebrows and leaned in again. Jess figured these coconut pancakes must be good if they were fighting over them, so she quickly plucked one off the plate before Piaran could grab it. She bit into the crispy outer layer and savored the creamy coconut filling. It was like a tropical beach had exploded in her mouth.
Oh, I love that. A tropical beach exploding in your mouth. I can almost imagine.
So use juicy words the next time that you work on your story.
All right, let's go to our last country. Willkommen in Austria. We're going to Austria. Any idea where that is on the map? Right there on the eastern side of Central Europe, right next to Germany and Italy. And it's a beautiful country. It reminds me a lot of Colorado, lots of mountains and lots of skiing there too. We have 3 books set in Austria: Mystery of the Ballerina Ghost, Mystery of the Secret Room, and Mystery at the Christmas Market. And these are all about Brooke, who's from Colorado, and travels to Austria and meets Ava. In the first one, they spend the time in the castle that Ava has grown up in, and they think there's a ballerina ghost there. In Mystery of the Secret Room, the girls discover a secret room in the castle that Ava didn't know was there, and she had lived there all of her life. I love that idea of what if you would find a secret room in your house? What would be in it, and what would it mean that you finally found it? And in the last one, Mystery of the Christmas Market. This is such a special one because Austria is known for its Christmas markets. So I knew I wanted to set one book at least in a Christmas market. And this is great. Brooke's family's come to Austria and they're having this wonderful ski holiday, and they go to the Christmas market in the evening, and everything would be perfect, except there are a couple of strangers who have some special plans for Brooke and Eva.
Oh, that's scary.
It is. It's spooky, but it's a fun one. So here's a photo of Salzburg, which is about an hour from Kitzbühel, where the stories take place. And Salzburg is one of my favorite Austrian cities. There's the river that runs through it. There are so many famous musicians who've spent time in Salzburg: Mozart, Beethoven, Bach. Beautiful castles and churches, and of course chocolates. So it's a beautiful, beautiful town. And here's a photo from a Christmas market. Christmas markets run during the Advent season in all of the good-sized Austrian towns, and they all one of the things that they talk about with a Christmas market is that it touches all of the senses, a lot like what we've been talking about. The taste, you can imagine that there with the bratwurst right in front of us. The smells, can you imagine the smells of the cooking food? The sounds, there are always carols being sung. The feel, all the different ornaments and the snow and the evergreens. And finally, what's the last sense? Anyway, we've got, what you see is an explosion of senses, and there's so many beautiful sights in a Christmas market. You're supposed to help me out there, Lisa.
I try.
Right.
Only I always get hung up on the last sense, and whenever we talk about the five senses, for some
I know. Me too. All right. And here we are in an Austrian classroom. And what do you see here that's the same or different?
well, for me, one of the most fun thing in this one is I see Aladdin and die Wunderlampe, and that's in German, but Aladdin, right? I mean, do you guys read Aladdin? I know my kids read Aladdin, and so I think it's really cool. They're reading Aladdin just like we read Aladdin, only they're reading it in German. So that's the same. I mean, it's the same that they're reading Aladdin, and it's different that they're reading in German.
And I think what you said there is really important because they speak German, even though they live in Austria, they speak German. And they don't speak Austrian. It's slightly different than the German that the Germans speak, but they can understand each other. Yeah. I also think this is interesting. No uniforms in this particular school. So
yeah, that was a good one to point out.
yeah. So changes. All right, fun fact. Who eats more chocolate, Austrians or Americans? What do you think, Lisa?
Well, I know I eat a lot of chocolate. It's one of my favorite things. So I'm going to say Americans.
I eat tons of chocolate too. I definitely tilt the scale towards the Americans eating more chocolate.
Well, let's find out.
Okay. Austrians. Austrians eat 20 pounds a year. That's per person on average, which means that if someone doesn't like chocolate, someone else has to be eating 40 pounds of chocolate that year. That's the same as eating about 320 candy bars. So a lot of chocolate.
That's almost one a day. That is a lot.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to have to see if I can beat that and just start eating one a day.
I think we should. All right. Okay. So,
I love this packaging. Look at this packaging. Isn't it great? It's like circa holiday 1980s or 70s. I love it. And it's called Katzenzungen. These look like little chocolates that are in the shape of cat's tongues. I love it. Which reminds me of my Emmy Eats Taiwan video where I ate cow's tongues, but again, they were cookies in the shape of cow's tongues. Animals and tongues and cookies. Why? So they open like this. How adorable. And they have this little wrapping on top. So, and there are the little cat's tongues. How cute! Here you go. Get the lucky balls. It's good. It reminds me of some of the chocolates you get around Easter time because of its both snappy texture and just milky sweetness. It's delicious and very sweet and charming.
I love all the juicy words that she uses.
yeah. It snaps, it crackles. Yeah.
Well, actually, and I love all this European chocolate myself, so I picked up some Katzenzungen myself, but I'm sorry to say, like I said, I like chocolate. It's all gone.
And you didn't share with me.
I didn't. Sorry.
So the German that I'm going to teach you is a greeting that Austrians use all the time. If you go into a shop, if you go into a restaurant, if you pass people on a hiking trail, people will say Groß Gott, and you should say Groß Gott back to them. It means great God. And that's their way of saying hello, which I think is really interesting because it says something about the country they are so religious that's what they're going to say instead of hello, how are you? Groß Gott. The other thing that I want to point out is look at the last letter of the first word. It looks kind of like a funny looking capital B. That letter is an extra letter in the German alphabet, and it has a double S sound. So groß, Gott.
Nice.
So our last secret, and it's a good one, use smelly words to describe what you smell. So I'm going to read to you from Mystery at the Christmas Market, because as you can imagine, there were lots of smells at the Christmas market. So Brooke and Eva are wandering through the market. Giant snowflakes fell lightly around them. Brooke breathed in the crisp air. She smelled grilling bratwurst and something else, something cinnamon and sweet. What's that smell? She asked Eva. That's Glühwein, Eva said. It's a warm Christmas drink for adults. that smells spicy. Kids drink Kinderpunsch, which is a hot mulled cider. She sniffed the air. They say that it's not a true Christkindl market unless it touches every sense. You have to see, taste, smell, hear, and touch something special. Then this is a true Christkindl market, Brooke said as she brushed her hand over a display of shiny silver bells. So, did you get any smelly words out of that?
I did. I did get smelly words out of that. I can almost picture being there. It actually goes back to the 5 senses that you brought up before.
Yeah, the Christmas markets are wonderful. I love visiting them when I'm in Austria.
And thank you for that story, because that leads to, what's your story? So there's always room for a story that can transport people to another place. And we at Pack and Go Girls are trying to help kids travel around the world in our book. So you can travel around the world, or you can travel to the magical places of Harry Potter. But the most important thing is to always keep reading, and letting those stories take you around the world. But you also can create your own story if you use the 5 secrets that we shared with you today. So think about what your story is.
We're going to go forward.
Now we're going to go backwards.
All right. So we hope you've just had a lot of fun the last half hour or so as we travel the world and we introduce our Pack and Go Girls books to you. We also hope that you go to packandgogirls.com/join. And if you do, you're going to get this fun little packet with story starters and word puzzles, a coloring page, and even a really cool conversation game that you can play with your family over dinner tonight. So we hope you come to our website and join, and that you also discover all of our Pack and Go Girls books.
Now it's time for us to say goodbye.
Adios.
Ciao.
Tschüss.
Sawati. Have a good one. It has been great to spend this time with you.